Welcome to the Conquest Champions Battle Report League. I've taken 8 tournament veterans and pitted them against each other in an elimination tournament. In this round, we have Geordie, the Beard, going up against Rain, the Shadow. The Conquest Champions Battle Report League is brought to you by my web store. You can find a link in the description below. I sell a bunch of army bundles that would make perfect alternatives for the Middle-earth strategy battle game. I just recently finished off this Super Orc army that I'm going to be using as an Azog's Legion force. You can get this army either unpainted or pre-painted in one big bundle. Let's get back to the battle report. I'm your commentator, Jacob Lucas. Who's going to win? Watch to find out.
G'day, I'm Geordie. You've probably seen me on the channel a few times before. Today I'm playing in the Conquest Champions League. Looking to take that top spot, of course.
How you going, guys? My name's Rain and looking to take it out.
The army I'm playing today is a classic, but it's got a lot of synergy. So it's Easterlings with the Barry-active Khan. So what I've done is I've just bare bones my captains. So I've got a Carnish Chieftain on a Chariot, and I've got 2 Easterling captains with shields to just be massive tanks. Then I've got 2 chariots to go along with it, and then about pike block of about 20 Easterling warriors. So what this list does well is, the Easterlings are tanky as, but they're only strength 3. So where the strength 3 is a weakness, the chariots come in with strength 4 impact hits.
Today I am bringing Angmar, so different take on the list that I usually run. I'm not having a banner in there, hoping to use birders, lead by example, 6-inch banner rule, hopefully get him onto those heroes early. 2 whites, shut down the heroes quickly, and max fill orcs, hopefully just to stay in there and avoid that break.
So today I'm visiting Angmar, which initially I wasn't too phased about, but there's a big troll.
Going up against Easterlings today, not too sure how I feel about that. I'm hoping between the Tainted and the 2 whites and Birder, I'm hoping I have a few answers to be able to shut them down quickly.
I expect to win this tournament, so let's go.
In the Conquest Champions League, 3 scenarios are drawn at random, and then each player can veto one of these scenarios. This makes the game a lot more balanced, and it helps make sure that both armies are able to compete just as well in the scenarios. For this game, we have hold ground, storm the camp, and destroy the supplies.
My army's quite fast, but we don't spread out, so I've elected to get rid of destroy the supplies.
I think I'm going to veto storm the camp.
In hold ground, each warband comes in from a random table edge. This is known as Maelstrom deployment. Then the primary objective is to control the center of the board. You also need to kill the enemy leader, as well as break the enemy army, which is to kill 50% of their models. This game ends once one army is broken at the end of the turn on the roll of a 1 or 2. Today's battle sector is the ruins of a Gondorian city. There's a lot of big line of sight blocking pieces, which is going to make shooting pretty tough, but neither army has much shooting. Other than that, the board is relatively sparse with plenty of open space. The center of the board has this big ruined structure that the players are going to be fighting over because that's the ground that they're going to need to hold. Roll turn 1 priority.
Let's go. Perfect.
Got him with the 6. So I'm going to roll for the Tainted. See if he comes in. 2.
So 2, that's Geordie's choice on the north or south board edge.
It's an empty board, so it doesn't particularly matter. But I'll put him, unless you want to mic this, I'll put him
I will not be using mine.
probably down here.
I want to get him as close to the ruins as possible, as quick as possible too. Barrow warband. 3.
No might, so I get to put him wherever I want.
So
East,
Geordie's
west.
choice east or west.
So I don't want the Barrow White to come his full movement in, because I do want him wrapped in.
This Maelstrom deployment isn't going well for Rain so far. This Barrow-Wight and his warband are on the other side of the board than the Tainted. Now, I don't know if I agree with Rain choosing hold ground for this one. because Geordie's chariots are absolutely lethal in this scenario. Khandish chariots are one of the most unique units in the game. Rather than charging, when they move, if they move into base contact with an enemy, they do 2 strength 4 hits. The important thing is here, usually in Maelstrom you can't charge when you arrive, but these chariots don't charge. They just move, and whatever they hit gets hit. Of course, after they hit something, they stay in combat with them, which is very, very nasty. They are limited with their movement because it's harder to maneuver them. You can only make a 45-degree rotation once every 3 inches with their movement. Rain's final warband, which was Birder, came in on the other side from the Tainted. This is really not a good way to start for Rain because his army's split up. Because Geordie's going second, Geordie could potentially get all of his army together and be able to fight half of Rain's army with his whole army.
Alright, this is interesting. I think I'll get the chariots in first to see how much damage they can do, if any, if I even get the right spot. And then we'll come in with the phalanx. For the charioteers.
And that's a 6, so they can come in anywhere they want.
I'm avoiding Birder with the chariots because he can just hurl these bad boys. So I'm going to come in around here. I think I just pick closer.
Geordie's putting his chariots immediately behind that Angmar warband. This is dangerous because those chariots can go for the Tainted on turn 1. That would be really bad for Rain.
So the Khandish chieftain's going to enter here and beeline straight for the Tainted. We're mainly hoping to take his horse, but you know, in a crazy world with some crazy dice rolls, he could also get flash killed. So charging in, that's well under 10. Now, when a chariot makes impact hits to a cab model, they hit up and down. So this is the horse. On a 4+, it'll die. Yep.
And that's a
so
dead
we take
horse.
the horse. And now the Tainted, I believe, will need flat 6s. So obviously unlikely, but you never know. Could burn some fate.
Oh.
1 wound.
So fate roll 1.
Easy.
Passes.
I have to come in from here. So 3 inches, rotate, 3 inches, rotate. That'd be pretty easy here. So just to hopefully put additional pressure on the Tainted and maybe take him out, we're just going to go again. Again, we need him at 6 to wound, but it just means the combat phase, it's just so much likely that we get the kill. Ooh, no wounds.
Nothing.
And the final chariot is going to go into some orcs. So entering from about here, I'll just measure his finishing distance in case somehow he gets through them all. I'm going to beeline through here. The intention is to avoid the barrow white, so I might need to like move out a bit first and then rotate. Will that be possible? Yeah, that should be possible. So I'm avoiding the barrow white. So I'm going to move out about 3 inches, rotate, and then try and trample through these, 5 orcs? Unlikely, but you never know. So it's just 5s to wound, 1 orc,
First one's down.
contacts the second orc, another orc,
Brutal.
It's not
another contact.
No.
4 is not enough, 2 orcs.
Geordie has really put the pressure on early with these chariots coming in. Now the Tainted is in danger here. He's much more of a caster than a combat hero, so he just needs to get lucky and win that fight.
So this warband's basically split in 2. I'm going to roll for the drum and the banner. They're together, and it's just one of the captains and about 9 other models. Whoops, big roll.
That's a 5.
Wherever I want, east, west.
Correct.
Geordie's making a good choice here. He's taking advantage of the fact that he's got to go second in Maelstrom, and he's putting his second warband right next to those orcs. He wants to see how quickly he can take down this warband before the rest of Rain's army can get there to support it. Rain's objective here is just going to be to keep those orcs alive for as long as possible, because if Geordie's army is here fighting these orcs, that means the rest of Rain's army can actually play the scenario and take that objective.
The final warband. If this rolls really poorly, I'm happy to spend might just to put all my army in the one place, or we can just roll well.
And that's another 5, so your choice again, east, west.
Geordie is putting all of his eggs in one basket here and adding his final warband to support the battle in that corner. I don't know if this is the right call because Rain's going to have free reign on that objective.
So now it's turn 1 combat. Not a common sight in Maelstrom, but we have the Tainted fighting against Khandish Chieftain and a Charioteer.
The Tainted has a special rule called Seeping Decay. Any model in base contact with him at the start of the combat phase, on the roll of a 6, takes a wound.
I roll 1 white for the chariot and 1 red for the charioteer. Going this one first.
And
Nothing.
they're both alive.
And then on the second one,
And nothing again, unfortunately. Alright, that goes into the fight.
So Carnish Chieftain has 3 dice, 1 plus 1 for charging, and the Charioteer will have 2 dice. I'll roll them separate because the Chief has might to use. So Chieftain, 5 high, his friend got the 6.
So, Tainted.
1.
Oh, it's not going well.
It's not looking good.
So the Tainted is knocked prone, and the Chariot will deal double strikes. So I'll do the Chieftain again. So we need 6s, because he's a ring wraith. But if we do 2 wounds here, he is 100% dead. So I will burn as much might as I have to here.
And there
is the potential for another wound. I'll roll the Charioteer first before checking for might. Alright, so the Carnish Chieftain is going to put 2 might into his strike to cause a second wound.
And that's the
The
Tainted
Tainted is
down.
First turn. Ouch.
Not a good start.
6.
You take it, well out of banner. Back away.
Priority this turn went to Angmar, but Geordie, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I'm going to call a Heroic Might with this captain here. First of all, it lets this Chariot get his charge again, and it also just lets me push in and just envelop what's left of this warband. With the Heroic move, I'm going to move the captain first. Now, I believe all these orcs cause terror, so I'm not going to risk whiffing his courage check. He's just going to move out of the way. Probably to about, let's just go, maybe move 3 inches forwards. Now we're going to go with the Charioteer, who's just going to pivot at the start of his move and beeline towards the Barrow White. Now Chariots don't actually charge, so they don't need to take terror checks. Now I think this Orc is going to be connected first, so we have to get through him. Contact with this Orc. Ooh, that was off the screen, but got the 6. And we continue into the Barrow White. Now wounding is obviously not what is going to happen here. We need 6s. But it's worth a shot. Yeah. So no wounds. I'll go with this captain on that orc that he can reach. It's like exactsies, but he's pretty clearly in, I would say. Feel free to look. So his courage 4. Easy, nothing. So captain onto that orc.
Geordie is just going in with his Easterlings. Now, some of these Easterlings have the Black Dragon upgrade. This is a 2-point upgrade for Easterlings that gives them +1 fight and courage. So the ones that have that higher courage are going to go into the front rank. It also gives them fight 4, which means that those Easterlings will have a higher fight value than these orcs. So it's really important to get them involved in the combat. Now, Easterlings are great against an all-terror army because you only need 1 guy to pass, and then you can back him up with 2 pike supporters. These orcs are definitely in trouble. I'm expecting Rain is just going to throw his shields up, not worry about killing anything, just try his very best to stay alive. Next turn, if he gets priority, he can draw another might point out of Geordie because Geordie won't want to be paralyzed by that Barrow White.
Geordie's tied me up pretty good here. I think I'm just going to put whatever I can into the Chariot Chieftain. Oh, not the Chieftain. It's just normal Chariot, isn't it?
Yep.
Full charge. 1 spear support for the Barrow White. He will wrap around. Never know, we might get a trap. So we'll wrap and go for the 3-way. And then another spear support on to him. And then obviously this warband, full movement forward, trying to get to the centre as quickly as possible. Hopefully we can get there and hold it for ourselves.
So Chariots have to move forwards. Another thing you get to do is they can spend their whole move just to pivot on the spot. So we're going to have this Chariot just turn as far as I like.
It looks like they're heading for the center.
In the combat phase with Rain's priority, he decided to start with the Chariot. This Chariot was hopelessly outnumbered, but Khand are a fight value of 4, while Orcs and the Barrow White a fight 3. So that means that when this Khand rolled a 6, he automatically won, and he managed to take down just a single Orc, deciding to go for the Orcs rather than the Barrow White.
and anyone else in combat in the combat is knocked prone. It's this orc versus these 3. It's this orc versus these 4. And then it's this orc versus these 3.
Rain elects to shield in all 3 of these combats, and in the first fight, 1 orc goes down. But the second fight, the orc loses the fight and is just pushed back. Now that's a good result for Rain. And in the third fight, that orc actually manages to win and push back 4 Easterlings. The next fight did see an orc get taken down.
And then this polka.
And then shielding again.
I'm going to 2-hand piercing strike with the captain.
Easterling captains have falchions, which means that they can actually 2-hand piercing strike, and unsurprisingly, that orc definitely died.
This is our board after turn 2 combat. Lots of orcs are decimated, but there is still a whole force here. We're going to have a clean run for that central objective.
So Rain has lost a lot of models, but he does have that clear run for the objective. Next turn went priority for Geordie.
So we're opening with this chariot, doing its 45-degree pivot, and multi-charging these 2 models. So we're going to do the orcs first, or the impact hits. Double kill, and then we're going to get the barrow white. Again, it's low odds, but I may as well just go for it. Needing 6s. No.
In Geordie's movement, he's just trapping all these orcs, and you can actually see him sending his captain in there. Now he's starting to commit more resources into the corner of this board, and he's actually just said he's going in with the other captain as well. I don't know if I agree with that decision. It means that Rain's going to have a big lead getting to the central objective. Geordie has committed his whole entire army just to killing this warband. Once this warband's dead, Rain won't be broken, so there's no chance the game ends. What I would be worried about if I was Geordie is Rain just taking that objective, losing 1 more orc, and then the game ending with Geordie having no models near the objective. But I reckon he's got a plan here. He's going to be conservative, and he's going to try to stop killing orcs once this warband is dead.
This guy's going to run around. And then we want to get the banner centralized, which I think should be here. Should get basically everyone. Yep. Banner into there. Put a black dragon there. Get as much pike support on the captain. Yeah, and the chariots. 3 inches. Pivot that way a little bit. 3 inches. Pivot that way 45 degree. 3 inches. Pivot. That was 3, yeah. 1, 2, 3, and then an extra inch.
So Geordie's just sending those chariots forwards. I don't think Birdo is going to struggle to take them down if he can get into them. That takes us to Rain's move.
Full movement forward.
Your warbands are more or less evenly distributed, right?
Correct.
Killing this warband won't break you because you have an extra orc on this side.
Yep.
Geordie asking questions like that makes me think that he has got this all planned out. Geordie's got to be happy with the positioning that he's in, given that he hasn't lost a model yet. I just hope his plan works out for him.
So let's start with killing this barrow white.
Yep.
So I'm going to 2-hand piercing strike again with the captain, so he'll be strength 5 with +1. And then other than that, we just got a few extra dice.
Oh.
So captain's -1. That's fine. He has 2 support and a chariot with charge. So this is the chariots. Easy, there's the 6. So this is the captain to wound. 3 wounds.
Ooh, there he is, he's gone.
It definitely hurts seeing a barrow white go down without ever getting the opportunity to cast a spell. But that's the balance. They've got no might, so you need to have resources around them. An Easterling captain took down an orc, and then in the next fight another orc went down to a horde of Easterlings. And 1 more orc goes down here, meaning that just 1 orc has survived. A lot of people say Easterlings lack killing power, but I gotta disagree when you see them ripping through orcs like this. This is our board, you can see that warband coming for the objective. Next turn's priority did go to Rain, and importantly, Geordie chose to use his Easterling drum this turn. The Easterling drum allows you to add 3 inches to your movement, but you can't charge, kind of like a heroic march. And unsurprisingly, Rain is just keeping up running into that central objective. He just needs his bodies to get there. Rain's only surviving orc in the other warband is just trying to be as difficult for Geordie as possible. He wants to tie up stuff, but just 1 orc can't tie up that much stuff, unfortunately. Looks like he's going to try to get that drummer. Now that's probably a good play because it's going to delay Geordie's army just a little bit, but he was out of range, so just the chariot.
Declared that I'm drumming because one orc I may as well just bail on him. So every Easterling within 12 gets bonus movement. It doesn't affect the Khandish, but we're just going to be sprinting to the middle now. Go for the actual objective.
This is something people often don't realize about Easterlings. They're actually one of the fastest armies in the game. Because their war drum affects everything in their army list, it is the most effective one out there for its points. Geordie has spent a bit of might, but he's still got plenty in the tank, so I'm expecting him next turn will probably call a heroic march on top of the Easterling drum, which lets his infantry move a crazy 12 inches. Seeing how fast Geordie's army is pushing up the board is definitely making me nervous for Rain. I was expecting Rain to have a big advantage getting to that central objective very early, but it looks like they'll get there at similar times. In the combat phase, that lonely orc fighting against the chariot actually managed to win the fight, but just pushed him back. Hopefully next turn he gets priority and can tie him up again. And next turn, priority did end up going to Rain, so he did just charge that chariot. Now you can see the rest of his orcs, and importantly his Barrow Wight moving up here. His Barrow Wight has decided to cast a 2-dice Paralyze against that Khandish chieftain. This just makes sense. There's no better model to paralyze in Geordie's army than that chieftain.
Oh, you're kidding.
Gets the point of will
So
back.
resist the paralyze on a 6.
And now Rain is just pushing the rest of his army forward. Berda is finally getting close to something. He won't be able to get him next turn, but maybe the turn after. There can be some fighting from the great troll chieftain. And the orcs just pushing up. And in Geordie's move now, his Khandish chieftain's actually just getting out of the way because he wouldn't be able to hit any orcs this turn, but that means that that regular Khandish chariot is going to be able to go for some orcs. Now Geordie did declare at the start of the turn that he is heroic marching with one of his points of might, so that's what I was talking about earlier. These Easterlings are going a crazy 12 inches this turn. That's an extra 3 inches for the heroic march, and then an extra 3 inches again because he called the drum. Look at how fast they are. That's crazy.
And looking at the board, we have everything pushing up and meeting in the middle there. And there's one fight this turn. It's the Orc versus an Easterling.
And he'll be shielding this turn.
Take it on fight, but you're not knocked over, and I need 5s, I think. Oh, there you go.
Got him.
And the Orcs are 1-off breaking.
Correct.
And this turn is Geordie's priority.
So it's near the end of the game. It's very important to get within this little area of control here, but this building's blocked me off pretty hard, so we got to figure out something. But before all the thinking, I'm going to do the easy move, which is to rotate the chieftain. So I've decided, because the game's close to ending, I'm just going to kamikaze, try and kill an orc or two, which will break Angmar, and we're just going to run and hide within the control zone of this section here. So the chariot, pivot to start, 3 inches, 3 more inches and pivot, and get the old multi-charge.
Alright, can you take them both down?
So orc on the left, or my left, and then orc on my right.
And
Both
that's
gone.
2 dead Orcs.
And I guess we keep going. Go straight into the Barrow Wight, I guess. Again, low odds, but I may as well just take them. 6s to wound.
So with the Orcs broken, Geordie's just trying to take space in this 6-inch area and hope the game ends.
This is definitely a sneaky play from Geordie. I'm not going to say it's the most courageous play at all because now he just needs the game to end, and as long as he's got all his Easterlings in there, he's going to have the lead. So can Angmar put out enough damage? That's the question.
With the battle against a single Orc over, this Chariot's just pivoting so he can make his way back to the battlefield.
And also wanting to get at least one model off the table. I'm going to put Berta into the chariot.
Yeah, the chariots are gone up. Don't worry about that.
So all of the orcs are still staying together. Now I think this is just something that Rain has to do at this point because he's now broken. Next turn he'll take courage tests and those orcs need to be by his heroes.
And the one fight for the turn is this Chariot fighting almost all of the remaining Angmar.
Alright, chariot gets a whopping 2.
I'll go Berta.
Berta's on that.
Enough.
I'm going to roll those, Colin?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's alright.
You won anyway on the 2.
Oh. Sweet, so traps.
Yep.
Traps, starting with in the ways for the chariot.
We go Birder first.
If he doesn't kill him.
Go one strike with Birder.
Both made it through.
get through.
Forced to wound. Dead.
And that is the first Easterling Khan model down. And priority has gone to Angmar, but they are broken, so they've got some courage tests to make. Geordie has called drumming on the Easterling drum, so he can't charge this turn. So let's see these courage tests, Rain.
So the force is just going to try and chase the remaining force around, hoping the game does not end. But we'll go Birder's stand fast first.
And he's
Makes it.
good.
Which sort of covers everyone.
Barrowite
and
spending
my
a
one.
will point to pass his
Yeah.
courage test.
So you spent 3 total.
Yes.
He's got 2 left.
2 left. And he's going to come to here, and he's going to use the last of his will to cast Paralyze onto that chariot, because we don't want him coming after us.
Oh, that was the plan.
Goes off on a 5.
As I got the natty 6 last time, the chieftain has his will point still, so we need to get a 5. I'll just keep it forever.
It's definitely devastating with the amount of magic that Rain had going into this game that he hasn't got a single spell off. Definitely feels bad with Geordie keeping his will with another natural 6.
I'm going to get this chieftain to kill the Barrowite. That's their greatest source of courage in this list. If he goes down, there's a reasonable chance the rest can just run away. So we're going to pivot first up, go 3 inches, though we don't need any more pivoting, just a teeny bit, and connect.
So 2 strength 4 impact hits.
Nah, but we've got fight 5 in combat, so hopefully that's where we can do it.
So the Easterlings have ran around the building away from the Angmar army so they can set up a phalanx in the open area. Also, if this takes a few turns, that might mean the game will end before the conflict happens, and Easterlings are currently in the lead. So that takes us to our 1 combat of the turn. We have the Carnish Chieftain fighting against the Barrowite.
The Carnish Chieftain's going to piercing strike to go up to strength 5. Yeah, because I've charged, I've got an extra die. Got the 6. So you're knocked prone. I need 5s to wound. Strength 5.
Strength 5, yes, 5.
2.
2 wounds.
And that is the Barrowite slain. Alright, at the end of the turn, we roll a dice. On a 1 or 2, the game is over.
My priority. Keep
And
it
that is
going.
a 5, so it continues. So, priority has gone to Angmar. Rain, where are you going to start?
I'm going to start by killing things, because why not? So we'll go the Birdo stand fast. Ooh.
You can
5.
spend a will.
Yeah, he's going to have to stay in it.
Because you only
He's out
need
of will.
6. Yep, so spend a will.
He's going to come around into the Carnish Chieftain.
And that stand fast will get most of his orcs there.
Yep. So the remainder of the orcs are just going to try and get into that central objective, just to limit the amount of VPs we give away.
So Berta's got that fight 6, so we're going to try and rescue him. So we're going to send this chariot up 3 inches. Going to do the 45 degree, and then we'll just do another 3 inches just to make sure we avoid that orc and pivot again. Charge into Berta's behind. Getting a cheeky wound here might be important as well. So we just need 5s. No wounds.
And now Geordie is just taking space in the middle there, setting up his phalanx, and if the orcs try to go into it, they're going to have a tough time cracking through those Easterlings. The game is definitely on the cusp of finishing, and Geordie is currently in the lead. So we'll see if he's going to be able to hold that.
I will be calling a heroic combat.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely may as well.
Yep. So we'll go. We charge at the back there first. Yep.
Show us the 6. So he's saying there's a chance. So I've charged, so +1 attack. Got the 6, I'll burn the might.
So I'll might that up.
So you spent 2 total that turn?
Yep. So all strikes on the. I've got to roll up and down, don't I?
It's up and down, yes.
Just fine roll.
You can just roll them all together.
Yeah. Right.
So 5 up, so 2 of them go through. So you got a good chance at it. So 3s.
Good, good.
Alright, and then just charging into the original what we wanted.
Yep. Now you charge me, so I don't have a bonus attack. Cool, let's go. Birder on a 3. You've got 2 orc friends. On the 6,
There's the
there
6.
it is. The chieftain is pushed back. And
Birders. 1.
1 goes through. Their defense 6, so I think you need 4s.
That's a 1 again.
Yep.
Chariot.
On the chariot, you'll need 5s.
Nothing.
And the 2 orkies. 1 through. He needs 6s.
And with that, the game has ended with the random game length going to the Easterlings. We'll count up the score now. Final score is 10-0 in favor of the Easterling and Khand Alliance.
I think I really lucked out in this game. The fact that we got Maelstrom with chariots and my opponent went first, so I was able to just steamroll the turn we started. Killing the Tainted on basically what you would call like turn 0, where no one's meant to charge. Huge.
Yeah, that was brutal. Next season, watch this space. I'm going to bring something a little bit more interesting. Might pack a little bit more of a punch.
I'm keen to show this army off in the next game, and I reckon it's going to do pretty well.
And with that, Rain has been eliminated and Geordie progresses into the next round. He's one step closer to the title of Conquest Champion and that grand prize of an army set from Conquest Creations. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for the next battle report.